Welcome to r/entitled people, where Karen really wants OP scooter. Karen wants me to get off a mobility scooter. I want to start this by saying that this happened over a year ago, but I still think about it all the time, and recently I retold it to my mom. So at the time I was 18, and I had just had surgery to remove my gallbladder. Since I was fresh off the operating table, I couldn't walk on my own yet, and I needed to use a cane. While in stores that had them, I used the mobility scooters. You know, because that's what they're there for. Me and my husband, we'll call him H, were in Walmart one day, and I couldn't keep walking with the cane. It was hurting too much, so I told H that I needed to grab a scooter. We make our way through the store with little to no problem, but I noticed a lady, we'll call her Karen, had been following us. At one point, I stood up to look at some chips we were thinking about grabbing when the lady came around the corner and started going off on me. This is paraphrased because I can't remember her exact words. Karen: "You're disgusting for using that cart. You don't need it." Me: "Ma'am, if you look in the basket, you'll see that I have a cane with me. I currently need this scooter." Karen: "Oh, please. That's not a real cane. It's a stick." The cane was my grandmother's, and she had made it from a stick that she loved when it had fallen on a tornado. She used it until the day that she passed, and then she passed it on to me. Me: "This is in fact a cane, just not a store-bought one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to find my husband and give him the chips that I want." I then tried to get back on the scooter, but she blocked my way. "Ma'am, I need to sit back down. I'm in a lot of pain and I can't stand on my own for very long." "You're fine. You're young and healthy. You don't need a scooter. You're just too lazy to walk." Me: "No, I just had surgery and I can show you the scars if you want to see, but I need to sit down and go get my husband." Eventually, my husband finds me and tells the Karen to move so I can sit down, explaining that I did in fact just have surgery and I was in fact in excruciating pain. She moved and was a little white in the face, but she left us alone after that. Safe to say, the weirdest Karen encounter I've ever had. I too am disabled and need the mobility scooter for shopping at large stores. I had a lady try to come at me at Costco, went so far as to grab the basket on my scooter. I told her that she needed to leave me alone or I would raise my cane to her. She said it was assault. Her husband came along and dragged her away, yelling at her to stop being a Karen. I had a good day after all. Am I the jerk for going out on a date night with my wife's friend? I went out for dinner with one of my wife's friends last week when my wife was out of town. I wanted some honest opinions on if I did something wrong and how big of a trouble I should be in. So, to give some full context, my wife was away for a week visiting her parents. She has a friend, Amanda, who she has been friends with for many years. Amanda has had a rough patch where she broke up with her boyfriend and also lost her job. My wife has been supportive of her. Last week, Amanda had an interview and asked my wife if she could give her a ride home from the airport. As my wife was out of town and my office is near the airport, my wife asked me if I can give her a ride on my way back from work. I didn't have any plans, so I agreed. Amanda and I are not really friends, and I only interact with her when we meet socially. I told Amanda to message me when her flight gets to the airport and I can go pick her up. I picked her up around 6 p.m. and we were driving home. We were just having small talk about the new company she was interviewing at and her work in general. Amanda told me she does not have any food at home and asked if we can stop at a drive-thru so that she can pick up some food. I was also hungry, and I suggested we can stop by somewhere and have quick dinner before I drop her off at home. She agreed and started searching for places on the way. She punched in the address to a restaurant on the way and we drove to that place. We did not know this, but this place was a pretty fancy Italian restaurant. She said, "This looks too fancy," and I said, "We're already here, so let's eat." I messaged my wife that we're getting dinner and she said okay. We had a pretty fun evening and a nice dinner. She had a few drinks and I was not since I was driving. We generally never talk much, but she opened up to me and we had a very nice chat. I never knew Amanda and I had so much in common and we liked the same music and movies. I did not notice, but we were at the restaurant for an hour and a half. Amanda was taking pictures during dinner and also asked the server to take our picture at the end of the meal. I dropped Amanda off at home. She gave me a quick hug and said thanks for such a nice evening. I called my wife, told her I dropped Amanda off and I'm heading home. She seemed busy and I just let her know that I reached home and said goodnight. This is where things got a bit weird. Amanda messaged me around 11 p.m. saying thanks for the ride and she had a good time. She sent me our picture together. I saw the message and just liked it to acknowledge it. Later that night, Amanda shared some of the photos from our dinner on her Instagram, including our photo together, and captioned it as "Dinner with Friend." I'm not friends with Amanda on Instagram, and I didn't see it. The next morning, my wife called me and asked me how my date night with Amanda was. I laughed it off and thought she was teasing me, but my wife sounded really upset and kept on asking me about all the details, like when I got home, which I was happy to provide. That night, my wife called me again and told me that Amanda told her about the night before. The issue was, Amanda made the dinner sound way nicer than it was. She kept on praising me for how much of a gentleman I was and how I treated her better than most of her dates, how I'm a good listener and I paid for the whole thing, etc. I feel Amanda also added fuel to the fire by telling my wife all the wonderful things I did for her during the evening. My wife feels I should have asked her before inviting Amanda to such a fancy place for a romantic dinner. She was also upset that hundreds of people liked Amanda's post on Instagram, and she feels disrespected that her husband is going out on date night with her single friend when she was out of town. She also jokingly asked me how our goodnight kiss was, and I told her it was just a hug. That seemed to make her even angrier. I've not told her about the late night messages from Amanda and me liking the picture with the heart emoji because I'm too scared at this point. I wanted to ask if I was wrong to invite Amanda out for dinner when both of us were starving and it was dinner time. Do you think my wife is wrong in overreacting to all of this? I was just being nice to her friend, who she asked me to drive home. I also communicated with my wife all through the night and she seemed okay with it at the time. She only got offended after she saw Amanda's Instagram post. Should I call Amanda and tell her to talk to my wife and explain it was just a friendly meal and I was not being inappropriate? You're the jerk. Would you be okay if your wife went out on a nice dinner and had drinks with a single male friend of yours, not hers, hugged him, took pictures, all without asking if it bothered you and not telling you what happened, and then you found out from social media? The fact is, casual observers interpret you going on a date with a woman that isn't your wife. Getting drive-through is one thing, this is another. OP, I just went for dinner with her. I was expecting to go to a diner or something, but it was a nice meal anyways. Yes, I understand if my wife would have done all those things, it would have bothered me. However, I was messaging my wife through the night, and she never once raised a flag that she was uncomfortable. I also talked to my wife after I dropped Amanda off. I think her problem started the next morning after she saw the Instagram pics. No jerks here. Sounds like there's a level of naivete around the escalating situation. The early portions of your story are definitely innocent and honestly what a lot of people would do for a close friend of a significant other. But how could you not see this escalated into an awkward situation? Fancy romantic dinner setting, potentially intimate conversations, a bit of PDA towards the end. At no point in the evening did it occur to you that this feels like a date. Probably owe your wife an apology regarding the misunderstanding. OP, I'll be honest here. I was slightly annoyed I had to pick Amanda up at the airport because I had my whole evening planned out. I was going to go home, get drunk, and play Sea of Thieves with my friends. I really did not notice we were in a restaurant for such a long time. The dinner was not romantic at all, but you know how pictures on Instagram can look. In hindsight, I know why my wife is mad at me, and I'm just scared at this point for the fallout. Help! What kind of restaurant was it? It wasn't one of those unlimited breadsticks places. It was more like a fancy steakhouse, but Amanda picked it out. My wife was completely fine with the dinner until she saw the pictures on Instagram. Why did you pay for it? So I paid because I always offer to pay. I'm lucky to live a comfortable life and I hate splitting bills. I also always offer to pay when I go with my friends too. Update. I've been getting the cold treatment from my wife ever since this incident. A lot of the comments made me believe that I did something horrible. However, I knew in my heart that I did not have any wrong intentions and decided to just be honest with my wife. She came home yesterday and I went to pick her up at the airport. I went on my charm offensive and got some flowers and chocolates on my way. While my wife was happy to see me after 2 weeks, I could see she was a bit annoyed by me. I asked her if she wants to stop by for dinner at a restaurant, and she gave me a look and told me to keep driving and we'll just order takeout. She also asked me to cut the BS and be normal. After we reached home, we settled in and I got dinner ready. I decided to be direct and asked her why the incident is really bothering her. I told her that I know she's not an insecure person and she also knows I would never put myself in an inappropriate position. While I understand why she would be annoyed by the situation, I would not expect her to doubt me. She was the one who trusted me to pick up her friend in the evening from the airport. As it was dinner time and her friend said she was hungry, it would have been rude of me to not offer to get her food. Also, my wife knows that I always offer to pay for dinners, irrespective of if it's my friends or hers. It's just the way that I was brought up, and we have fights during family gatherings on who gets to pay. I asked her what was the thing that was exactly bothering her and why she was okay during the night when I kept her updated about everything, but got upset in the morning. My wife told me that the whole situation smelled funky to her. She told me that she does not doubt me one bit that I had any wrong intentions. However, the optics of it all was really bad for her. She said that she is not upset at me for getting dinner with her friend. She would expect me to do that, and Amanda also appreciates it. She said that the issue started early morning when her mom barged into her room to show her Amanda's post. Her mom thought I was going out with Amanda behind my wife's back. My wife told her that she knew I took her out for dinner and told her about what happened. She then got a lecture from her mom about how naive she was, and this is how affairs start. My wife said that it annoyed her a lot. Her mom also looked up the restaurant and told my wife that it was a very pricey place and was voted best place for romantic dates by some magazine. She said her mom completely freaked out after seeing my picture with Amanda. So my wife looked up our credit card statement and realized I had spent a lot on the meal. She also said that Amanda has a huge social media following on Instagram and posts a lot. I think she's like a fitness influencer or something, but I don't really follow her. Even though most of the pictures in her post were of food, the last photo of me and her looked like a boyfriend reveal as we were sitting next to each other. She told me I won't understand as I'm not on Instagram, but this is how people announce that they're dating someone nowadays. As the day went on, Amanda got more than 1,000 likes on the post, with a lot of people commenting and saying that we look nice. She was annoyed Amanda did not correct any of them, so she called Amanda in the evening to ask her to take the last picture down. However, Amanda kept on praising me and how I was charming and fun. Amanda told her that for all these years, she felt I was snobbish and pretentious. I am a huge introvert, so I come off that way, but she was wrong. My wife said this was annoying because she's never seen me be charming with any of her friends before when she was around. Amanda was talking about all my favorite bands and how we should all go see a concert sometimes. Amanda told us she posted our photo because she's never been treated to such a nice place before and wanted to acknowledge me in the post. My wife never asked her to take down the picture because of that. She then had a lot of questions for me as to when I dropped her off, why I walked her to the apartment building door, and when I got home. I told her I can show you exact times and receipts for everything, but do we really want to be that couple who questions each other about every little detail? She can check when we got the credit card charge, the messages I sent her after dropping Amanda off, and our Ring camera and garage, and come to her own conclusions. She asked me if I thought Amanda was flirting with me during the night, and I told her that was not the case. In fact, Amanda messaged me our photo at night, and I just sent an emoji instead of engaging in a conversation, mostly because I was busy with my video game. That chapter was closed for us, and neither Amanda nor I messaged each other after that. Amanda is my wife's friend, and I do not intend to be close friends with her anyways, as I have my own friends. I also insisted to her that Amanda was not inappropriate in any way during the night and maintained proper boundaries. So this incident should not affect her friendship with Amanda. In fact, if Amanda had any intentions, she knew my wife was out for the rest of the week and would have tried to message me again. But she forgot about the evening, and so should we. Overall, my wife seems to be back to normal after the conversation. My wife is not an insecure person. I could see why she would be annoyed by the situation, but I know in my heart that I will never disrespect our marriage, and I had no reason to be sneaky or lie about the situation to her. I'm glad we talked it through, and I was able to answer all her questions. Thanks again for your suggestions. How much was the dinner? OP. It was around $300 overall with tips and stuff. The food was pretty good though. $300? How many courses did you get? OP. 5, I think. We skipped the dessert course though because it was too much food. His wife is far too insecure. OP treated Amanda just like he treats his friends. If anyone deserves crap, it's Amanda and his wife for bringing up all this drama on him over something that she started in the first place. I don't know. I feel like wife would be less upset if this wasn't out of the norm for OP. I can't imagine he takes everyone he picks up from the airport to $300 romantic Italian restaurants. Oh, give me a break. You don't accidentally end up with a $300 dinner at a romantic Italian restaurant with an Instagram model on the way home from the airport. Amanda orchestrated the whole scene and he played along. OP mistakenly took his wife's fitness influencer friend out on a date and got caught when his pic ended up on Instagram. He spent $300 on the date and then walked her to the door. He knew what he was doing. Nobody is that dumb. I am so glad I do not date jealous people. It was just an, admittedly rather expensive, dinner with an acquaintance, and the wife wouldn't have gotten this worked up if her mom hadn't brainwashed the heck out of her. This is how affairs start. So yeah, better be ridiculously angry at him for something he didn't even think about ever doing. Now she's told him that her mom can easily influence her opinion even if there is no basis for it. Well, I hope they won't let them fester and can fix their trust issues. If OP was a woman, Amanda was a man, and everything else in the story was the same, everyone would call the husband controlling and jealous for asking the questions. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his wife? Please let us know. Am I the jerk for telling my parents that if they don't like our lifestyle, they can leave? I'm upset, so I'll get right to the point. My husband and I both make well over 6 figures, but we work long hours, and as a result, when we're not working or at the gym working out, we just want to veg out. So we, when not working, will generally make breakfast but order out lunch and dinner or go out to eat. If we are working, we go out all 3 meals. Our loans are paid off, we own our condo, and we have no kids, so ordering takeout makes us happy. We also have a cleaning lady come twice a week to clean our home and do our laundry. Our parents came to visit us and were upset that we didn't cook for them the whole week except for breakfast. We took the week off because we knew both sets of parents were coming. We told them we don't cook except for breakfast, but our condo is right next door to a plaza that has a grocery and they're welcome to cook if they like. But there were quite a few restaurants that we have yet to take them to, so why not try one of them? They got on us about how much money we were spending, and my mother-in-law got on me when the cleaning lady came and said I should be doing the cleaning because she worked and cleaned and took care of kids, so she doesn't get why I can't, which really upset me, so I went off and told her, because I'm not Superwoman, I have no desire to be and refuse to try, and if she wants a participation trophy for being overworked and underpaid, she can head to the bar and have a shot of Jameson. I then told her and my parents that I did not spend 4 years in college and 2 in graduate school to play Florence from the Jeffersons. It's an 80s show that my parents love to watch. So they went on to complain about how much money we were wasting. My husband told them that it's not their money, it's ours, and we don't consider it a waste. We told them the last thing we want to do when we get off from work is cook and clean. My husband told his mom that he never understood why she would work herself to the bone like that, even when he and his sisters tried to pitch in and help. She insisted on doing everything herself. I told her I will not be doing that. So they went on about an emergency fund. We told them before we started living the way we do, we made sure our student loans were paid off, and we each have a year's salary saved up plus investments, so we're good, thank you. My dad tried to be intrusive and ask about how much we both made, and we said, none of your business, at the same time, which made us both laugh, but they were not laughing. They didn't like our reaction and felt we were wasting money. We told them if they have a problem with our lifestyle, they could all leave, so they Ubered to a hotel. We really don't want them to leave just to drop the subject. So, are we idiots for telling them they could leave? Update. I've texted both sets of parents and told them I'm sorry for what I said and I want them to come back, as I never wanted them to leave. That I know what I said about them leaving was out of line. I just wanted to drop the subject, but my way about it was wrong. I told them whether they decide to come back, I would like to reimburse them for the hotel rooms. Second update. We just met up at a restaurant near the hotel. They didn't want to eat, so we sat at the bar and talked. We told them that our finances are our business, and though we told them that if they don't like it, they could leave, we were not literal when we said that. We just wanted to drop the subject. They continued that we're wasting money. We told them it's our money to waste, and just because they consider it wasting money, we don't. We consider it one of the perks of our very fortunate life, and it was not going to change. We told them that we appreciate their concern, but we know what we're doing, that we don't have to agree with them, but it's not up for discussion or debate. We told them we would love to have them back and to enjoy the rest of the week with them, but any comments or conversations about how we spend our money will not be allowed. They agreed, and we're taking them to a restaurant a little off the beaten path that we know that they will love. No, they didn't apologize, but we didn't expect them to. Am I the jerk for telling my 17-year-old daughter not to throw tantrums while I'm working? My 17-year-old had final exams today. She didn't get as high of a grade as she wanted. It was a C. She came home literally crying and screaming about it while I, 43 female, was working up in my home office. My job requires a lot of video calls with other leaders in my organization, which is exactly what was happening when she came through the door. I had to mute myself so the background noise didn't carry and couldn't participate in my meeting. I didn't react angrily towards her, but later I made a semi-passive-aggressive remark about it, something to the effect of, "Yeah, I love it when you come home screaming when I'm on a work call." She launched a verbal attack about how she can't help it that she's depressed and how could I possibly be angry, and said that I'm horrible to her and I don't care about her. I replied that she's allowed to be sad about a bad grade, but it doesn't warrant screaming and crying when she knows I'm working. It's okay to be sad, but there's a time, a place, and a way for expressing if that won't cause me problems at work, which is important because that's what keeps a roof over our head and food on the table. So Reddit, should I be more sensitive to her emotional state, or was I perfectly justified in my reaction? I really want to know so I can either work on myself as a parent or show her the opposite viewpoints posted here. She is now demanding that I apologize to her, but I think I was being reasonable because at 17, she needs to grow up a bit to prepare to function in the real world, where that behavior won't be tolerated. I think she owes me an apology. Update. I appreciate all your comments about how she may be experiencing an issue with her mental health. You're exactly right. I should have mentioned a few things. 1. We've had this conversation before about the importance of quiet. So yes, I have spoken to her about this maturely and as a good parent. I also didn't make this remark in the moment, but later when she was calm. And that was after I had given her a hug and talked to her about it. The remark I made was probably not kind, but was intended as a runabout sort of reminder that her tantrums have consequences. 2. Yes, she does struggle with anxiety and depression, and has been since she was younger. But she has been in therapy that whole time and sees a psychiatrist. 3. I've always tried to correct this behavior. One problem is the co-parent I had working against me for so long, who did allow this behavior at his house and undermined me and put me down to my daughter. My daughter is now actually very aware that his behavior was unacceptable and acknowledges how hard I've tried to be a good parent all these years. Co-parent passed 6 years ago and still trying to undo that damage. Not the jerk, but maybe have a discussion with her when she's calm about being mindful of your working hours and the conditions that the house needs to be quiet during those hours. She can be upset, but yes, there is a time and a place. She can go to her room and cry and scream and can talk to you about her frustration at a later time. I don't know if I'd apologize for letting her know that she was acting inappropriately, but maybe apologize if you made her feel like her feelings don't matter and explain how you do care about her and her feelings, but it's very frustrating to not be able to properly work. She owes you an apology for how she acted and then reacted to you, but I wouldn't outright tell her that she owes you one until after this whole discussion if she doesn't say something sooner. Karen charges us extra for something that didn't even happen, so we completely tanked her online reviews. This happened a few years ago. My girlfriend at the time, now wife, and I used to vacation in Asheville, booking cabins through a small rental company. We grew up there and loved it. Plus, she had friends and family in the area that we would visit while we were there. One of the rules the company had was that no extra guests were allowed to stay overnight, or there would be a fee. This rule never bothered us, as we never planned on having that. But we did invite a couple of my girlfriend's friends over to hang out for a little while. They got there around 7 to 8 and stayed until around 11 p.m. before heading home. We finished the trip, had a great time, and went home, thinking that everything was good. A few days after we got home, I got an email from a woman in the rental company who claimed that their maintenance guy saw that we had people stay over, and we were now being charged an extra $200 for breaking occupancy rules. Next came a back and forth between her and I, where I told them no one stayed overnight and that they had left around 10:30 to 11 p.m. But she claimed to me that occupancy is anyone being in the cabin at all, which made no sense. I looked up the legal definition of occupancy, which did not side with her, but she told me it didn't matter and that they would charge me the extra $200. Cue the revenge. Between my girlfriend and I, we got about 8 people with 20 different Google accounts, all leaving 1-star reviews on the company's Google page. This took the rating that they had of around 4.4 all the way down to mid-3 stars. It was a local company. Well, someone higher up must have gotten wind of this and they knew exactly who did it. Within a couple hours, I got several emails from the original woman and her supervisor apologizing for their misunderstanding and asking how they could get us to take down the bad reviews. After telling them it was clearly not a misunderstanding, I told them to buzz off since they wanted to treat us that way. And long story shorter than it could be, we ended up getting an offer of $200 off our next visit if we took the reviews down. And they obviously refunded me that extra $200 plus another $100 off that stay. Karen, I hope you understand what occupancy means now if you still have a job. My husband is cheating on me with my best friend. I'm honestly not sure where to start, so I guess I'll just start here. My husband and I have been dating since I was 19 and he was 22. We've been married for 6 years now. We have 2 kids, and I'm 6 months pregnant with our third. 2 years ago, I found out my dad has stage 3 colon cancer. My dad is my only parent as my mom passed when I was 12. He's my favorite human, and life without him doesn't seem colorful. His laugh is contagious, and he gives these big bear hugs that seem to make all of your broken pieces feel like they're perfectly in place again. Whenever I've had a hard day, he doesn't poke and prod, and he just lets me vent and listens. About 5 months ago, we discovered that the treatments aren't working for him, and in direct quote of the doctor, he said, "Months, not years." Since then, he's gotten progressively worse, and now is losing memory. He looked at the dog he got for me on my 21st birthday and said, "Wow, that's a nice dog. Where'd you get it?" My husband has been my absolute rock. He has been there for me, holding my hand and helping me through all of this. He's been so loving and attentive to both me and the kids. Don't get me wrong, I am a mother first, always. I don't allow myself to wallow. My kids are still loved, cared for, and played with, and I haven't let my load slack around the house. Once my dad got his updated prognosis, my husband encouraged me to quit my job. About a month later, we discovered we were pregnant again, and I still hadn't let go of my job. I kept holding out for some reason. After finding out I was pregnant again, he assured me it was still okay to quit my job, that honestly it would save us a small fortune on daycare costs anyways. So I did. I quit my job. My best friend and I have been friends since diapers. Her family is like my family and vice versa. My mom and her mom grew up together. We've always been solid, and right after my dad's appointment, when we found out he had so little time left, I drove straight to her house, and she held me while I cried for hours. If there are soulmates in friend form, she was mine. Thick as thieves is what my mom used to say. This morning, as I was up with my 3-year-old, he's sick, my husband's work alarm was going off. He has a few he sets, so I turned that one off and gently woke him up. He said he was up late working, so he took the morning off. Rolled over and he went back to sleep. As I went to turn off the remaining of his alarms, I saw a text from my friend on his lock screen that said, "I'm assuming since there hasn't been any angry pregnant lady on my doorstep, you haven't told her about us yet." Time froze in that moment. I took his phone and walked away and just read their conversations. 4 months, this man has been hooking up with my best friend. 4 months, these people have been lying to my face. And I know what you're going to say. You should have seen the warning signs. But I've been clutching this phone in my hand for 2 hours and nothing. He's been so loving and attentive to me, but he always has been. So kind and gentle. There's been no late nights or work nights except for once in a blue moon. There have been no lingering touches between them or even glances. They act as they have since the day I first introduced them. How sick is it that she calls him her brother, but they're doing this? I know so many people get a moment of clarity in situations like this, but I have none. Aside from being sad about my dad, I haven't changed. I'm still a loving wife and mother. I still doted on him and the kids. I talk to him about how he's doing and how is his day every day. I haven't allowed the ground to swallow me whole. I know what I have to do now, but I just don't want to. I'm about to lose my family and my support system in one blow. I'll confront him tomorrow. Today I just need this last 24 hours of peace. As for her, I won't give her the satisfaction of a response. I don't care why she did it. She did it and it's done. I was always the friend who cleaned up her messes. After today, I'll cut her out of my life like she never mattered at all. This has to be the hardest storm I'll ever weather, but darn it, I know I'll sail through it. If not for me, for my kids. Update. I spent the morning gathering everything I could and making a checklist. I sat in my office for the better part of the morning, telling my husband that I was preparing things for my dad. Not a total lie, I did have to get him sorted with hospice today. My boss would be happy to have me back. However, my lawyer said pump the brakes on that idea for the time being. However, my old boss did tell me that whenever I'm ready, the door is open and to just give her a call. He does not have access to my inheritance from my father nor my mother. My lawyer assured me of that. I didn't mention her in the post, but my mother-in-law is an absolute angel. I love and adore her so much, and she's always been a shoulder to lean on. After he had gone to work for the afternoon, I asked my now ex-best friend's mom and my mother-in-law to meet me at my dad's house. My kids were outside playing with my now ex-best friend's older daughter. I just handed them the screenshots, saving them from the unsavory pictures and the tape that was on there, though I did tell them that they existed too. To say they were furious was an understatement, and they're on my side completely. Angie, my now ex-best friend's mom, is ready to cut contact with her daughter completely. She kept repeating how sorry she was. We hugged and cried together. My mother-in-law told me she couldn't believe she raised a spineless, terrible human, that no matter what happens, I will always have her, and as far as she's concerned, she doesn't have a son, only a daughter. After an in-person meeting with my lawyer, we went over finances, logistics, and everything you could think of. She has all of the proof, and she's out for blood. I know a lot of people were hoping for me to get revenge or do psychological warfare, but honestly, after my kids went to bed, I just took a shower and just broke down. I don't have the strength or energy to dish anything out. I just want out. Pretending like everything was okay today was too exhausting, and I just don't want to do it anymore. Do this next. Tap here on your screen to come see our new podcast playlist, where you'll find thousands of hours of the best stories you've ever heard. Or tap the one on the right. That episode is specifically just for you, based on other videos you've enjoyed the most.